Hasn't Cathy Engelbert been replaced yet? When will that happen, and will it be important?
He said, when will it happen? Like he knows. Dan Le Batard is talking like he already know it's about to happen. He said, not only why hasn't she been replaced, when will she be? I know it's about to happen. Come on, man.
Why hasn't Cathy Engelbert been replaced yet? When will it happen? Not if, but when. Dan Le Batard asked that question as if he already knew the answer. And from the current behind-the-scenes developments, it's clear he's onto something. He's not alone. 3 different insiders from various parts of the basketball world are all suggesting the same thing. The WNBA's commissioner is on borrowed time. Her exit seems inevitable.
The future of the WNBA.
It will be very important. I do believe it's coming. I do not believe anything is going to happen until they can get this new CBA ratified, because that's ridiculous to have someone in high-level conversations and then to bail right when we're actually reaching like critical time in the space, I think is asinine. So I don't anticipate any change happening before then, but I do anticipate a change coming.
I truly believe it's just a matter of time. Elle Duncan doesn't tiptoe around it. She states it outright on national television and makes it clear why Engelbert won't be able to withstand this. The comparison to Roger Goodell is tough, but accurate. Goodell is booed at every NFL event, despised by fans and mocked by players. Yet he remains because the owners stand behind him. They trust he's safeguarding their interests, their money, and fighting their battles. Engelbert, however, doesn't have that support.
To an executive in the NBA, just about sort of the precarious situation that she's found herself in. And, you know, I think the issue that they raised for me is that, like, Roger Goodell gets called a lot of names. He's maligned, like, by fans. He gets booed everywhere he goes. And most of that is because everyone believes that he only works for the owners and he's got the owner's interest in mind only, right? So he's in with the owners and he's not in with the players. That's the idea, at least, the narrative that swirls. When it comes to Cathy, she doesn't necessarily have great relationships with the teams or the players. So if you're not, if you're not like currying favor with either side, I just don't know how you survive it. And I watched her, y'all, get booed mercilessly.
Here's where things become truly damning. Elle Duncan spoke with an NBA executive about Engelbert's situation. Think about that for a moment, people. Inside the NBA front offices are discussing the WNBA commissioner's job security. And what did that executive reveal? Engelbert doesn't have strong relationships with either the teams or the players. Read that again. She has alienated both sides of the negotiating table. The players have been outspoken about wanting her gone, led by Nafisa Collier's relentless criticism over the past 2 months. But now, we're also discovering that the owners are unhappy as well. This totally contradicts what we previously believed. The common assumption was that Cathy was safe because she's the commissioner favored by the owners. We thought the billionaire team owners appreciated her efforts in raising capital and securing sponsorships during tough times. It turns out that belief was completely mistaken.
Finals when we were in Phoenix, and I think it shocked her. I think it was really off-putting to her to see how she has become the villain in this story. And I think she's done a really good job raising capital throughout the years where it wasn't as easy to raise capital, where we didn't have numbers and metrics to prove that this was a great business strategy. But I also think that, like, the relationship has clearly deteriorated to a place where I don't think it's ever going to be fixed. And if you at least had the owners on your side going, that's our girl and we're going to make sure she stays, but I don't think she has that either. So if you don't have either side, I just don't know how long you're in for this job.
I saw her get booed relentlessly at the WNBA Finals in Phoenix, and it seemed to genuinely shock her. It was October 2024, Game 5 of the Finals, when Caitlin Clark awarded Engelbert the trophy during the ceremonial presentation. The Footprint Center erupted, not with polite applause, but with harsh, merciless booing. According to Elle Duncan, who was there covering the event, Engelbert appeared genuinely stunned by the hostility. She clearly hadn't anticipated such a reaction. This moment reveals just how disconnected she has become from the league's fan base. The players have been openly criticizing her for months, and social media has been brutal in expressing dissatisfaction. The ongoing CBA negotiations have exposed serious fractures in her relationships across the organization. Yet she still didn't see the boos coming. That's not just tone, Steph, it's a fundamental. It's a misunderstanding of her current standing with the league and its fans. But
at this point, but we'll see. Hammond added. Okay. Now we got to get to this right here. This is where the juicy part is. ESPN's L. Duncan addresses Cathy Engelbert's future. ESPN analyst L. Duncan was the guest on a November 18th episode of Dan Le Batard's show and was asked when Engelbert might be replaced as WNBA commissioner. She said, "I do believe Engelbert being replaced is coming. I do not believe anything is going to happen until they get a new CBA ratified, because that's ridiculous to have someone in a high-level conversations and then to bail right when we're actually reaching critical time in this."
But L. Duncan isn't the only insider predicting Engelbert's departure. Becky Hammond appeared on CNBC in November. She's not a media personality just throwing out hot takes for attention. Hammond is one of the most respected minds in women's basketball. Direct access to league operations and ownership discussions. During her interview, she stated, "Engelbert's relationships with players are too fractured to repair. It's uncertain whether Engelbert can recover from the damage done in private conversations and rebuild trust." Hammond chooses her words carefully, but the message is clear. Whatever transpired behind closed doors has irreparably harmed her relationships. According to Hammond's assessment, league leaders are likely considering a change in leadership to address the growing issues.
What could be in store for WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert? Now, we have heard before Cathy Engelbert could be on her way out, but they don't want to get rid of her in the middle of the negotiations. It's a lot going on. Get a deal done and then move on from her. That is likely how this thing may play out. Let's get a look at the article. WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has been subject to a ton of criticism from the women's basketball community, including both fans and players, for quite some time. But these feelings have intensified as a result of the ongoing negotiations of the league's next collective bargaining agreement.
So, what exactly did Engelbert say that led to this breakdown? Nfisa Collier has been dropping hints in interviews over the past 2 months, alluding to comments she found disrespectful or dismissive. While we haven't seen the full quotes yet, Keir, the president of the Players Union, has been vocal in her criticism. She's made it clear that repairing her relationship with Engelbert is off the table. The players want her gone and have made this a key issue in the ongoing CBA negotiations. This situation represents a strategic leverage play. The league's current CBA is set to expire soon, and the past season was its most successful, ever, driven largely by Caitlin Clark's rookie year, which boosted ratings and shattered attendance records. Sponsorships flooded in, and the league's financial success is at an all-time high. The players recognize their unprecedented negotiating power now, and they're using it not just to push for better salaries and conditions, but also to demand a change in leadership.
I think it's asinine, so I don't anticipate any change happening before then, but I do anticipate change coming. How you gotta read between the lines, guys. We've had head coaches say they believe she's about to be replaced. We've had players say they believe she's about to be replaced. We have analysts saying she's about to be replaced. And come on, read between the lines, guys. Come on, let's take a listen to this.
The timing of all this is crucial. L. Duncan highlights an important point about why Engelbert remains in her position despite the mounting criticism. You simply can't fire your top negotiator during ongoing CBA talks. Doing so would cause organizational chaos. Imagine trying to finalize a multi-million-dollar collective bargaining agreement while simultaneously searching for a new commissioner, bringing them up to speed on months of negotiations, and rebuilding trust with a players' union that has just pushed out your predecessor. The league is essentially at a standstill. They need Engelbert to see these negotiations through, secure a deal, and then move forward. Based on what Duncan, Hammond, and Le Batard are indicating, that's the plan. Finish the CBA, announce the deal, wait a few weeks, and then quietly confirm Engelbert's departure. Citing pursuit of other opportunities or similar corporate language to save face. This situation is significant for the future of the WNBA. The commissioner's role is far from ceremonial. She influences league policies, negotiates media rights deals, manages relationships with team owners, represents the league publicly, and sets the strategic direction for growth. Engelbert stepped into the role in 2019 when the league was struggling financially. She deserves credit for her accomplishments. She attracted new sponsors. When many companies were dismissive of women's sports, negotiated media deals that kept the league visible, and oversaw expansion to 12 teams with more on the horizon. However, the landscape has evolved. The WNBA is no longer a niche or struggling league. The 2024 season proved women's basketball can generate massive ratings, sell out arenas, and attract mainstream interest. Caitlin Clark's rookie year drew an average of 1.2 million viewers for Fever games, and playoff games featuring her attracted over 3 million. Viewers numbers comparable to many NBA regular season games. The league is at a pivotal moment, shifting from survival to growth. This transition demands new leadership skills, and the right person at the helm will be essential to capitalize on this momentum and push the league forward. The players clearly believe that Engelbert isn't the right person to lead the league through this critical transition. According to insights from L. Duncan's NBA executive source, some team owners also see her as a problematic fit. You can get by if players dislike a leader as long as the owners support them. Similarly, if owners are frustrated but players respect the leader, they can often weather the storm like Roger Goodell in the NFL. But when both sides are openly campaigning for her removal, the players publicly calling for her ousting, and owners privately discussing her replacement, that situation becomes unsustainable. The ongoing CBA negotiations have laid bare these deep divisions. One of the biggest sticking points is prioritization. The players want the league to require WNBA athletes to make the league their primary focus, prohibiting them from playing overseas during the off-season. The league has pushed back on this, arguing that international play is essential for most players' earnings. Even with salary increases, WNBA pay still lags behind what top players can earn abroad in Europe or China. But prioritization isn't solely about money, it's also about respect. The players want the league to treat itself as a premier product, not just a side project. Engelbert's handling of this issue appears to have alienated the players. While we don't know exactly what she said during private negotiations, Nafisa Collier's repeated references to problematic comments suggest Engelbert either dismissed player concerns or expressed them in a way that felt disrespectful. Once trust erodes in negotiations like these, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. The players' union has remained remarkably unified throughout this process. They've seen union members sign with unrivaled, a new 3-on-3 league offering, equity stakes, and better pay, and Kier, the union president, has aligned with Project B. These developments are not just business moves, they're strategic leverage plays, signaling that players now have options. The WNBA is no longer the only lucrative option for top talent. International leagues are paying high salaries. New leagues like Unrivaled are backed by serious investment, offering equity and better compensation. The bargaining power has flipped entirely. What was once a league able to dictate terms now faces a player base with multiple lucrative alternatives. When Engelbert's approach seems to have failed to adapt to this new reality. Watching her initial interactions during the final negotiations reveals the depth of the frustration both from players and the broader fan base. The crowd's reaction wasn't just about the CBA. It was a culmination of an entire season's worth of questionable decisions. The league's handling of Caitlin Clark's rookie year drew criticism, as many feeling her incredible talent wasn't protected from overly physical play that crossed into danger. Inconsistent officiating and scheduling choices, such as putting Clark in back-to-back games, while other teams received restatted to the dissatisfaction. These issues have contributed to a growing perception that the league needs fresh leadership to navigate its future growth and restore trust with both players and fans. Fans definitely noticed all of this, and many blamed Engelbert for the league's current struggles. Comparing her to other sports commissioners highlights the importance of public perception and relationships. Adam Silver in the NBA is generally well liked because he communicates transparently, shows genuine concern for player welfare, and makes decisions that fans can understand, even if they disagree with some. On the other hand, Roger Goodell in the NFL is widely despised by fans, but remains largely untouchable because he maintains strong backing from owners who benefit financially. Goodell absorbs the criticism, allowing owners to focus on profits. Engelbert, however, has managed to embody the worst of both worlds. Fans don't support her. Players distrust her. And some owners question her effectiveness. This contrast underscores a vital lesson in sports. Leadership. You don't need to be universally loved, but you do need to be effective and maintain solid relationships with at least one key constituency. Engelbert succeeded in raising capital when the league was struggling, but she failed to forge the necessary trust and rapport to guide the league through its next phase of growth. She had to know that her approach to CBA negotiations would cause friction, and she likely understood that her comments, whatever they were, would leak and spark backlash. She also knew that the league's handling of Caitlin Clark's rookie season, along with issues like inconsistent officiating and scheduling, would draw criticism. Yet, she either didn't care or underestimated the severity of the consequences, which now threatened her position. What makes this situation especially awkward is the timing. The WNBA just enjoyed its most successful season ever. Revenue, attendance, ratings, sponsorships, and expansion are all on the rise. By traditional business metrics, her tenure should be considered a success. Still, she's on the brink of being pushed out because she lost the support of the players, the very core of the league's product. This is a stark example of relationship management. Failure. The upcoming league leadership will inherit a powerful players' union that is already demonstrated its influence by pushing out its previous commissioner. Future commissioners will need to understand that player voices must be respected, concerns addressed, and their status as league assets maintained. Any leader who fails to grasp this reality risks the same fate as Engelbert. So the question remains, was her approach worth it? Did she accomplish enough to justify the fractured relationships? While she did secure funding and partnerships during tough times, she arguably neglected the foundational trust necessary for long-term success. As the league prepares to enter its most critical growth phase, expanding teams, securing new media deals, and attracting unprecedented interest, they'll likely do so with a new commissioner, starting from scratch and building player relationships. Engelbert's tenure offers a lesson in leadership's importance. Effectiveness and relationship building are key to sustained success.